How's it going, guys? Today I'm going to be featuring the Yoshino, the legendary tier Japanese large cruiser. Yoshino has been kind of growing on me as of late, just because I guess it kind of offers something unique for the Japanese cruisers. I mean, Zhao is definitely better, but a large cruiser that has relatively decent AP, good HE, but also these funny 20-kilometer torpedoes that every now and then you'll have a funny match where your torps start landing on things at max range, which is what I kind of find to be interesting. On top of that, I think in this match I may or may not be using Takao as my commander just because it gives us turret traverse without really having to give up a whole lot, I suppose. Um, but yeah, we decided to use Takao, which is kind of interesting. Enemy Montana insta DCPs our fire, so we wait a few seconds before we fire another salvo. And, well, ideally we would be able to set him on some permafires and I guess maximize the amount of damage we can do, especially because we do have a legendary mod. It would be great to get a lot of kind of a big buff to our reload. And then on top of that, I mean, if we can finish things off, then we could also get some damage. Enemy Glue gets spotted. I mean, Glue's entire team that spawned with him on that flank seems to be running away to A. Not really sure why. I think they just are afraid to play the game without a destroyer in front of them, so they need to go to the other side. But with the Glue starting to run away and our friendly destroyer in B keeping him spotted, we're going to sit here and see if we can basically remove him from the match. We do have our spotter plane, so I'm kind of hoping spotter plane helps us out a lot. But Yoshino definitely doesn't have Azuma accuracy, which I kind of wish it did. Azuma accuracy is definitely nasty as we smash the Glue with the triple citadel. Glue is on a sliver of HP. He does pop a heal, but I think it's too little too late, and our friendly Brisbane finishes off the Glue. Would have been great to have dev struck him, but we definitely would have needed Azuma accuracy to do so. But at this point, all the battleships are running away from C. I feel like at some point they're going to start pushing through A. So I just start dumping my 20-kilometer torpedoes into the gap between A and B. And I guess hopefully at some point when the enemy team decides to push in, they will be within range of my torpedoes. I mean, at some point, I don't think they would be sailing on the outside of A. I feel like they'd probably be pushing closer to the middle or closer to the B side of A, just because that's where our whole team would be. I started looking where to launch this next set of torps, but it turns out I might as well just launch it through that same gap, and I guess stagger them to the point where I mean, there's a good chance if the first one misses, maybe the second set will catch him. Friendly DD stopped there and ate a torp. Kind of unfortunate, but it's not the end of the world. We have more than enough torpedoes going for the gap that there's a good chance that we can catch whatever it is. Sailing away, I'm not sure I really wanted to shoot at this Montana while kiting because it could have been any point where that battleship came around the corner, especially if it's a Preußen or something, and then we just get absolutely nuked while we're broadside. But luckily that's not the case. We're able to just keep sailing. Montana leaves our range. We do have refill station, but there's no one that's close enough. We're basically using refill station for the reload buff, although I think it's only at legendary 2 currently, so it would be pretty good to get that maxed out. Although not sure I want to max out Takao just because I feel like we could probably still get away with what we're doing, but instead using a Tago, which may or may not be better. Torpedoes going through the gap. I'm kind of hoping our DD start spotting things because it would be great to start farming and know what we're pushing into. And then at some point we'll know that we can turn away. Enemy Hindenburg gets spotted, but there's also other ships with the Hindenburg charging through, and Napoli gets spotted, and he actually ate a torpedo, which is pretty funny. And as we're watching the shell camera, we realize he's going to eat another torpedo, which is also very funny. I have AP loaded for the Napoli B, and unfortunately I kind of underled this. I wasn't expecting him to actually speed up. I wasn't really sure what he was going to do. But unfortunately, we don't lead enough, so we don't get any citadels. Hindenburg, also sailing flat broadside. I feel like at this range, we're actually able to citadel all of these cruisers fairly easily, except for Hindenburg has hands, so he decided to turn. Enemy Napoli starts smoking up, thinking he's going to go unspotted, but unfortunately I didn't have AP loaded for that broadside, so we shot a salvo of HE, and I think at this point it might be a little too late because he'll probably have his DCP back soon. Our DD smoked up, not really sure why. I guess he's expecting our friendly battleship to spot for him, while the Hindenburg is charging straight at his smoke. Kind of a bad idea, so luckily he actually left his smoke and isn't gonna just sit there to get rushed down by a cruiser that doesn't have radar. Hindenburg starts opening up on us, kind of a problem. Hindenburg's DPM is pretty nasty, although I'm not sure why he decided to switch to AP. I feel like if he just kept shooting HE, he probably would have done a lot more damage, just simply because HE pens everything. And I mean, he's doing like 2k. That's not the end of the world. We're just gonna kite away because Colombo is currently the bigger threat to us. Colombo starts turning broadside. It would be great to get a stack of our legendary reload mod for that 5% damage, just so we can start dealing a little more effective damage to all of these other ships, especially that Hindenburg, because I'd kind of rather not get out-farmed by him. Enemy Colombo starts turning away. Our whole team started collapsing in from C, and now they're kind of in a crossfire with nowhere to go since they started pushing in very, very late. Had they started pushing in much sooner, considering they had, what, basically 8 ships on one flank except the glue because he insta died, probably would have been a lot more useful. In fact, they took forever to kill this GK. It took them half the match, and the GK spawned on this left side. So that's kind of where the enemy team is. But now, since they're all running away, it's time to start pushing in with our Yoshino. And, I mean, we launched those torps a long time ago. We're kind of hoping those torps, like the previous ones we launched, can randomly catch something if they decide to turn. But Napoli pushing in. I have AP loaded. I see him turning in. So I was kind of going to wait to see if he turns away more broadside, and then we can get a better salvo in and just finish him off. Otherwise, he'll just stay broadside to our team, and then he'll end up dying. I think Napoli now realizes he's broadside to all of our ships, and he starts angling in, but very slowly. I fire a salvo of AP. He just starts turning in hard, and probably should have been a little more patient with our salvo. I popped my sonar for the first time this match because we are getting closer to a ship with torpedoes, so there's a good chance that he may launch some last-ditch effort torps. Napoli goes down. Should have been a little more patient with that first AP salvo, but it is what it is. Enemy Hindenburg goes unspotted, I think because of our destroyer smoking up, unfortunately. So now we don't get to shoot at that broadside Hindenburg, and instead we decide to shoot at the broadside Montana, although I feel like Montana being slightly angled is going to make most of our shell shatter, although I think we aimed high enough that that didn't actually happen. But Montana just keeps sailing broadside. We keep aiming somewhat high up just so that we can hit that upper casemate where it's 38 instead of the actual belt, so we can deal some damage. Montana starts angling in, so we switch to HE. But yeah, Yoshino, we maxed out our reload mod. Having like a 13-second reload is pretty nasty, especially because these are, what, 310s, and well, pretty high HE alpha, good pen. I mean, it pens 50, so realistically every ship that we can shoot at is going to get penned. And well, all that's left is this Hindenburg. He's trying to duck for cover, but I don't think he's going to get away. We fire a salvo of HE. It looks pretty good, and these shells, well, land short, so the Hindenburg survives, and now he's turning away from the rest of our team. Friendly Brisbane, 30 millimeters of pen. Hindenburg can't really do anything against that, and unfortunately we end up with the Monty Meadow. Shells landed short on the Hindenburg that sailed in a straight line. Kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is. We did a good brunt of the damage with a high caliber and Confederate, landing torpedoes from max range, and we did a a good 3,400. We can round that up to 35 in the Yoshino. We smashed a lot of things, and Brisbane definitely picked up a lot of those, especially the glue at the start. Definitely felt good getting rid of the glue because it definitely would have been problematic if you could just sail around dropping airstrikes. It's always a good thing getting rid of a thing that spawns planes. But yeah, we were using Takao. I think the most interesting thing about this build was that we could have turret traverse in that second row. And I mean, Yoshino's turret traverse is pretty bad. So sometimes when we were using Atago, I did find myself using the turret traverse mod in that first slot instead of aiming systems. But this way, we're able to use turret traverse as a skill. Sure, we don't have the fire chance, but these guns already have a fairly decent fire chance, so I don't think it's the end of the world not getting that 3%. But anyway, that's pretty much it for this one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like and subscribe for more, and share with your friends, or leave a comment down below for other ships you want to see in the future. But anyway, guys, till next time, aloha.